I just wanted to share a quick thought that I've had on male pleasure and relational capacity, which maybe sounds like a weird thing, but the words came to me because I was thinking a lot about relationships and sex and how porn affects those two things, which is something I think about a lot. And I was thinking also about men's health and men's mental health and men's emotional health and, how men struggle in relationships and how the men that I've encountered and have encounters with have struggled to relate to me. But also, hearing men in my life, either male friends or previous partners or just the men that I've talked to, sort of talk about past relationships, and I realized that male pleasure and relational capacity are directly linked. And I'm sure the same could be said for women, but I'm talking about what I've noticed in men right now. And I can talk about women another time maybe. What I've noticed and what I've experienced is that men have been so conditioned by patriarchy as a system, as a historical system, as an understanding history as the foundation for our current way of life, our current understandings, our current society, and understanding the history of patriarchy. Men have been so conditioned by patriarchy and porn as a tool of that system of oppression of women that they've been conditioned often from such a young age. And I see this a lot. I see this much more with young men, I think. Those of us like me who kind of had access to free porn really, really young. The conditioning starts really, really young now through porn, which is a huge conditioning mechanism. And I'd love to talk a bit more about the neuroscience of that and the psychology of that another time, but I won't go into that now. Men have been so conditioned by that to associate their pleasure with their predatory aggression, which is a neurological circuit that we all have. We all have the circuit of predatory aggression, and they've been trained to associate their pleasure with the dehumanization of women coupled with their predatory aggression. And this is obviously detrimental to women, both psychologically and physically, due to the huge rise in interpersonal and intimate violence that we've seen. The numbers of women who say that they've had, very unconsensual experience of men kind of replicating what they've seen in porn, or, kind of acting out their own fantasy or fetish or whatever it is in an unconsensual manner. Reports of that are on the rise, and I think it's because, I'm 20, I'm part of this generation that really had access to that harmful material very young, before we could be objective and be like, that's not real. And it's not just bad for women. It's not just bad for women, even though it's worse for women. It's not just bad for women and it also ensures the perpetuation of a terrible cycle, relational cycle between men and women. It also prevents men's brains from being fully stimulated or activated by, in the way that would naturally happen without technology interfering, without porn interfering, without, the massive visual sexualization of women that's just everywhere, magazines, ads, billboards, without this, social media, without this massive interruption of the natural development, men's brains, when they are interrupted in this crucial development of sexual self-awareness and awareness of women, it greatly reduces pleasure for men and men's capacity to experience pleasure, not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically. Not just does it really reduce pleasure, but it also reduces men's ability to both seek out and maintain a healthy relationship. And that is very, very painful for men and for any human. You know, there's this myth that men don't feel that, or that that's just a woman. It's not true at all. And I don't think it's helpful for women, especially for women who particularly care about this stuff. I don't think it helps us to believe those myths, because it's certainly not true. Men deeply need that connection and also need pleasure physically, mentally, need that stimulation mentally and psychologically. Male pleasure and relational capacity are directly connected. And I think just as much as is the case for women, if not even more. That was my thought for today. I hope that's a nugget that was interesting for you. I'll see you next time.